I think that because there's just this huge amount of people publishing content now, that we need more filters. And we need people that we trust to basically take the noise away from us, so we can get the things that are most relevant. And I think that's what Radio 3's been in the business of doing since I was around. And I know I've talked to you before about this. So has that changed your sense of that?
You know what? It's probably evolved where, we have 75,000 songs on demand on the website.
Yeah.
And if someone would like to spend the time and go through to listen to all 75,000 and choose their own favorites, absolutely they can do that, and that's really important that we let people do that. The vast majority of people want us to do that work for them and give them our best guess as to what we think the best mix is.
Yeah. We
save a lot of people a lot of time, I think, by providing a music mix where we're the filter. Again, there's kind of proof in performance. If it's a crappy mix, no one's going to trust you as a filter. But over time, if we can deliver goods and it's high quality and people who know their stuff validate it and say, yeah, this is good, or I'm listening to this because they've got a good mix.
Yeah.
The trust factor goes up. You become authentic and build credibility in that space. But I think the evolution part for me is recognizing that no matter how good a job we do, I'm never going to nail your tastes perfectly.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to. I think it's becoming more and more important to give audiences and fans the tools to become filters themselves. And we have a new version of the website coming out in probably about 2 months, like or depending when you're watching, maybe it'll be up. But we're adding user pages into the website that'll actually give individual audience members the ability to have, a photo, a bio, their name, where they're from. But more importantly, here's all the bands that I'm a fan of. Here's all the playlists that are on the website that I favorited and the concerts that I favorited. Here's playlists that I've made. Right now you can do one playlist. Soon we're going to have an unlimited number of playlists you can make, and you can title them and have descriptions on them and things like that. And the goal, I guess, is to be able to empower, again, through credibility and authenticity, people who know what they're doing and are putting together great music mixes will become leaders in our community at being tastemakers in areas that we're not as good at.
Sure.
So, for example, like I know that we cannot play enough hip-hop music to really represent that properly for people who love hip-hop to come in and get enough out of it.
Yeah.
I hope that in the new model, we're going to get a lot of people in the community who put together amazing hip-hop mixes and, have all the different artists that they like and, kind of the people that they're a fan of, that they take on a filter role or a tastemaker role that we can't fulfill, and that we can have a broader community discover deeper hip-hop or electronic music or music that we don't even play very much because it's not necessarily even part of our demographic. I think the future for radio will be Wi-Fi blankets or WiMAX blankets over urban centers. I don't know how this is going to play out in more rural centers, but if you look at iPhones and a lot of these smartphones that are coming out that are Wi-Fi everywhere, I know it's not in Canada yet, but a Skype application for the iPhone has just been announced that'll let people make phone calls from an iPhone without a cell phone signal. If there's Wi-Fi everywhere, you're going to see Wi-Fi radios in cars and in homes and in businesses. Traditional radio transmission won't have relevance in urban centers the same way it does now because, again, limited supply on terrestrial radio, on AM or FM. As soon as I have access to every single radio station in the world over wireless internet in my car, I think usage patterns are going to change really significantly, and there will no doubt there will still be a very large and important role for local stuff that is important to me, whether it's my local traffic or weather or news,
media.
But in more broad things, sports, world affairs, music, I could listen to anything in the entire world and not the 5 or 6 that I might keep flip-flopping between that are, again, the big, giant, broad bullseyes, I can go into something that drills down much more specifically into my tastes on the internet. I think it's going to be a huge game changer for radio.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say, like, I don't think broadcast TV is going to go away anytime soon. I think they're going to have to start thinking a lot more about more Hulu-type models where everything's available all the time and it's a different advertising model. Because I think the piracy is going to start, like the BitTorrenting and everything is just getting so much easier. I think advertising and, you know, embedded into shows and being part of shows is going to get to be a bigger part of it, where the 30-second ad is just not going to, I don't think it has a long lifespan. I know a lot of people would say differently, you know, and I guess long is a relative term.
Yeah.
But in an age of DVRs or PVRs and BitTorrenting and all that sort of thing, it's just really hard to see how 30-second ads will keep working.
Yeah.
I think it would be really fascinating to see shows that are released on a day rather than broadcast on a day, you know, where that mentality has just changed, that, you know, it's available,
yeah,
and you can watch it wherever you want to consume it. I think that's going to be a big part of, you know, where you want it, when you want it, how you want it. The ones that deliver that smartly and, you know, and I don't know the answer to this, but, you know, can monetize that and find revenue streams across all the different distribution platforms, those are going to be the ones that win. The ones that cling to trying to use the web or some of those other models to drive people back to television, or see a lot of these new distribution platforms as marketing channels to drive back to television.
Yeah, you're absolutely
I think
right.
are going to suffer horribly.
Yeah.
And I think the other big one for me that is kind of a flag of concern is in the journalism sphere. And, you know, we all see what's going on in the newspapers, and how much difficulty they're having. And obviously they're a huge source of journalists and journalism around the world, that if new revenue models aren't found to supplant that, there's going to be a significant challenge to delivering the quality and volume of journalism that's happening right now. And I don't think citizen journalism is going to do things like investigative journalism and current affairs and delve into the stuff that may be boring but important, or exceptionally time-consuming, that delivers
expensive.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at, you know, so Seattle's Post-Intelligencer recently moved to an online-only model and shut down print, and they've gone from, I don't know what it is, like 150 or 160 people to like 20. So instantly you've got a lot less original news being generated.
Yeah.
And they've gone from being a more traditional newspaper to something that is modeling more of like a Huffington Post or Daily Beast, which is, they've got a point of view, they've got columnists, and, you know, guest writers and celebrities on there.
Yeah.
It's much more editorial and less objective journalism.
Yeah.
And I think in a world of choices, people tend to gravitate to opinions that they already agree with. And if you see a traditional journalism model moving towards a more biased or one-side-only model, and there's lots of examples out there, whether it's Fox News or whether it's the Huffington Post or whatever, any side of the political spectrum, there's really opinionated things that are doing really, really well in this model.
Yeah.
If it turns out that that's a profitable business model, I worry that, and whether that's conventional TV news or whether that's newspaper news, if their revenue models evaporate and they need to make money, they may well go down a path of having to choose to do less objective journalism.
Yeah.
And I worry, you know, what that means for us as a society, going down the hole to not have balanced points of view, or people not digging into both sides, people wanting to just prove existing opinions to a base audience.
That's a good point.
You know, as somebody who works at a public broadcaster, you know, I think in some ways it flags, you know, the need for an independent broadcaster that's not going to be based purely on revenue.
Thing that's kind of stuck in my mind when I think I went and saw